Hey, you guys. Hey, welcome. Good to see you all today. I'm Renee, and thanks for stopping in. So, today I wanted to talk about today's reminder, and it is your feelings are real, but they don't define your future. So, I kind of wanted to break this down a little bit, just something that was on my mind, and I thought that I would share it with all of you. So, hopefully, it's helpful. So, again, thank you for coming, stopping in today. I appreciate it. I hope your day's good. And if you've not been here before, this is Becoming Her Again, and my name is Renee. So it's great to see you. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about our feelings and, just how they are real. And what we go through, a lot of times when we're processing these things, and how, they don't define our future, even though sometimes it feels as though they do, right? So, your feelings are real. They're very valid. The pain that you're feeling is valid. The tears that you've cried and are crying, they're very they're so real, and there's purpose and there's meaning behind all of those tears. I really believe that every single tear has such meaning behind it, and every one, so that just says so much, especially when you're going through such emotional trauma, and it's very difficult to process, those feelings and, those emotions. And when the tears come up, sometimes you just can't turn them off, right? It's like a waterfall. So, so I understand that. And, it's just a very valid thing. So, but your emotions are not the end all tell all, right? Like everything isn't going to be that forever. So, so many times it feels like these emotions are not going to subside. We're going to be living this for actually ever until literally we don't live it anymore, right? So, I struggle with that too. Like, I literally think, like, no, like, this is going to be for the rest of my life that I'm going to feel this way. And so, that's what, we don't realize in the moment, that that's not always the case, right? And it generally is not going to be the case. So, just because today might feel really heavy doesn't mean that tomorrow will. And I don't know about you, but, as we go through our healing journey, and we look back like at what we've experienced up until today, right? There's been like an emotional roller coaster, and so many times I think when we're in it, it feels like it is every single day that we're really in this. So, we if we really, though, stop and think about it and then look back, we can start to see that many times we have been healing, and days now are passing rather than maybe just minute to minute, right? Because I talk about that, minute to minute is when you're in the beginning stages of this. And really, it's not even just the beginning. It can really be even in the middle, where it's like you're going minute to minute on this healing journey. So, so if you have some time to just like reflect back on your journey from start to where you are now, many times you will see that you have not been struggling, with these feelings and these emotions as often as you were from the beginning stages of that. I hope that makes sense. And I think it's really good to recognize that, because that also brings in some hope and excitement for you that this isn't going to define your future, right? Because, we feel in the moment when those emotions come up and our feelings are so raw, we really feel that this is going to be the eternity of, our life here on earth and that we're always going to be struggling with this. So, so think that through. And like I said, if you have some time to break that down for yourself, do that. Sit silently and think it through and, reflect on that, because I think that will really help you. And it has me too. And there wasn't very long ago. This was within the last handful of months, I would say, that I've been able to recognize that my healing journey has actually given me progress. And in the beginning, I didn't, like 3 months ago, I didn't feel like I had really healed much. So then all of a sudden, it like caught up to me where I was able to recognize that things were going in the right direction, and there wasn't a day in, day out, minute by minute now. It was more like, okay, maybe I'm struggling today, but then I'm not struggling for 2 days later, or maybe 3 days later, or whatever that looks like, right? This is just simply an example. So I think that's good. So that wasn't all in my notes, but I wanted to share that with you because I think it's really important that, that we reflect on that and think that through, because that's going to be very, very helpful for you. So I want to remind you, though, that, a hard season in our lives doesn't mean that is going to be our season for the rest of our life. And it doesn't mean that we're going to have a hard life forever. Again, same thing as I just said. It feels like it when we're in the moment. So, as I said, just breaking that down for yourself, I really think that that's going to give you some insight, and it's going to start to help you see how far you've actually come, So, but sometimes, healing is quiet. It feels like nothing's changing. And so if we don't take the time to reflect inward to see it, a lot of times we really don't think we're doing any work at all. We're thinking, I just did all of this. I have a manual that's, a foot long, right? 5 chapters of notes and, all of these things. But yet at the end of the day, I don't feel like I've accomplished anything, right? So I just want to remind you that, every time you're choosing yourself, you're choosing to take some time to sit down, write those things out. You're taking care of yourself, you're prioritizing you, you're going to bed earlier, you're eating better, whatever it may be, but you're taking one step at a time. You prayed another prayer, and you simply just kept going in your life. You're getting up, you're showing up for yourself, you're going to work every day, you're doing all of these things. Each of those things and each of those steps is more healing. I mean, it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Oh, I tell you, I know it doesn't, because you're carrying such this heavy burden on your shoulders. But I'm going to tell you that each time you do it, you are actually healing yourself a little more at a time. And remember what I say, like it's steps. Like these are all small little tiny steps, and they're stacking up. So the more you're stacking up these things, the more your healing journey is also taking place. And so I want you to remember that. But so I don't want you, to be discouraged by today and feeling like this is your never-ending story, that this, feeling of sadness, these feelings of defeat, whatever you're feeling, heartbreak, betrayal, rejection, these feelings are not going to continue to define your future. So I want you to remember that your story doesn't end here. Right? And what are we doing here? We are doing the work to become her again. So, that's what we're doing. That's the core of this whole thing. So I don't want you to get discouraged about it. I want you to keep on going and keep on reminding yourself that the storms that you're feeling right now, they will pass. You don't know when they're going to pass, but they will pass, right? I mean, and the season, that you're in, it's going to change. Just like the season that you used to be in, which I refer to that as a chapter. That was a chapter. That was a season that you were in. And now it's changed, and you're in this season and this chapter. And eventually this is also going to change. And the other thing is our hearts, they will heal. It doesn't mean that there's a timeline for that. It's going to take a lot of time for some of us, and that's okay. I mean, we have to embrace the healing journey, just like we have to embrace any of our journeys, whether good, bad, whatever that may be, we have to embrace it. So, and you're worth it, because the work that you're doing this for you, and you're working on you, and you're going to be stronger at the end of this. And you know what? That's all that matters. That's literally all that matters. It doesn't matter what the person did. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter all of those things. And it also really doesn't always matter where we fell short, because we're also not perfect, right? I mean, and many of our things that, when we're going through these healing journeys of our like ourselves, and we're going through the work that we need to do, we also recognize where we have fallen short. So this isn't just a blame game where it's like, oh, the blame's on this other person. No. We also need to take ownership of our shortcomings. We are not perfect. None of us are. And, we have to look inward, because we need to also reflect on those things, to heal those things, and to work on ourselves to be better. So that way we don't keep repeating those exact same problems that we had in the past, in the previous chapter, right? All right, guys. I mean, I'm just getting way off topic. I could just dive into this for a long, hot minute. But anyhow, so, this stuff gets me all excited. So anyhow, back to my notes, because I have to stay focused so I keep you guys on track too. But hopefully all this stuff helps. But one day, I believe that all of us, no matter who we are, we're going to look back and we're going to realize that this chapter and season of our lives, we thought it would break us down, and we would just become this for the rest of our lives here on this earth. We would be unfortunately defined in our future because of what has happened in our past, right? And I just want to remind you that you are rebuilding yourself into a stronger version of who you are. You are showing up every day. You're being more compassionate and loving towards yourself than you ever probably have been in your life. You have so much more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. I mean, and that alone is going to allow you to heal and go through this journey. And this isn't going to define your future. Your feelings are real, your emotions are real, and they're so valid. 100%. I am 100% about those are such real feelings and emotions, and it's very valid. But it doesn't mean it's going to define our future. So remember that. So if you're feeling very overwhelmed today, or that something that you might be struggling with, whether it's today or yesterday or, comes up tomorrow for you, I want you to give yourself some grace. I want you to think about all of the stuff you've done, what you've been through, and what you've accomplished. And I want you to be so proud of yourself. You can't learn all of it today. You can't. You got to learn it small steps at a time, and keep building and keep building. You're not building the whole house. You're just starting with the foundation, right? So that's, that's really important. So this is the chapter. This is just the chapter. It's one chapter. It's not the entire story. It's not the whole book. But remind yourself that your feelings deserve to be acknowledged, but they don't get to define your future. They don't get to decide what is out there, and the whole picture. But they do deserve to be acknowledged, and that's how you work through those feelings and emotions. So I want to leave you with a reflection question. And I'll put this in the description as well. But what would you change today if you believed that this difficult season was preparing you instead of defining you? So what is it that you would change, during this time, if you, really believed it was preparing you instead of defining you for the future? So whatever that is, I want you to write it down. I want you to write the answer in your journal, or just do a prompt where you think about it down the road and come back to it later when you're in a better space. Sorry. But, think about that. And, I think that is something that, we all need to ask ourselves. And then I want to leave you with an affirmation. And I just really liked this, and I thought it might help you as well. Just something to tell yourself that you honor your feelings without surrendering your future. The season that you're in is temporary, and, believe that healing is unfolding, even when you can't see it yet. Because it is an unseen thing. We can't see it. And unless we're really reflecting on it, it's hard to see. So, so I hope this helped you. I know it's a hard season, and I know that, going through these feelings and emotions feel so raw and so real, and they're horribly hard to go through. But it does not define your future, and it doesn't define the person that you are becoming, because you are becoming her again. So that's great. So give yourself a lot of love and a lot of grace. And if this video resonated with you, please give it a like. I would appreciate it. It helps me get the word out there a little bit more. And thank you for being here. All right, friends. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Have a great day.